It's the Sportsedge, powered by SportsHandicapper.com. It's the pre-birthday show. I turn the ripe old age of 21 tomorrow. And here's my friend that's 22, the king of the James. Jamie, in England, I know that it's like half as old as everyone. Like, it's half your age. So, like, just being in England, if you're really 40, you're 20, right? Is that how it works?
Yeah, you're only as old as the woman you feel. So I'm about 27 tonight.
You look great. And then Sealy McNeely, I believe you just turned the ripe old age of 70. So you're looking pretty youthful.
I'm not a day over 59.
How old are you really? Because you look like you're about 47.
No, I'm 59.
No way. Are you really?
Yeah, I'm 59. I've been around forever. I'm a dinosaur.
That's pretty great.
I'm like as old as a T-Rex.
Well, I know you're a big Jurassic Park fan. Listen, we got a lot to get to. The champ is here, by the way. Sealy McNeely, the 2021 Westgate champion. We'll get with him with some baseball in a little bit, but let's start with the PGA and Jamie. Jamie, this is what you dream of as a golf bettor, what you dream as a golf fan. I know you went out and hit the links in Costa Rica yesterday. I'll be out there tomorrow with my dad on my birthday for our golf league. But, they're going to be teeing off early at Southern Hills in Tulsa, Oklahoma. Maybe a little windy, 15 to 20 mile an hour sustained winds, but it's going to be hot. It's a tough course, and it's going to be a ton of fun tomorrow.
Yeah, it's going to be great, isn't it? Tiger's back as well. So I saw Caesars took a $20,000 bet at 60 to 1 on Tiger to win it. It'll be great to see him play well. He's obviously going to be a lot stronger than what he was at the Masters. It's just a question of, can anybody pull the trigger on Tiger, for any decent money? I mean, there's going to be plenty of small bets on him just out of nostalgia and interest. But he's one to definitely watch out for. Obviously, he won it back in 2007, I believe there. So it's going to be real interesting to see. There's some great groups there that are out. Tiger, Rory, and Spieth, I think, was one, right?
Yep, that's the feature group tomorrow.
Hovland, Zalatoris, and Smith's another one. So it's going to be fiery. From what I see from the redo on the course, they've opened up the fairways a little bit. So the fairways are fairly generous, but trying to get onto these greens and trying to avoid the runoffs there. That you're going to see a lot of the balls that are going to look good in the air, and they're just going to catch the wrong slope, and you can roll off from them. And then it's going to be the case of, okay, the guy's hit a good shot, but he finds himself 25 yards away. How's he come over that? How's he going to do around the greens? He's going to be able to get closer. And instead of him thinking he's got a possible birdie, he's got to make a 6-7 footer for par. And then it kind of becomes a psychological thing, doesn't it? How do you get over that? We saw it last week, didn't we, with Jordan Spieth, where we were just talking about it off air and on that short par 4 11th, and you think he's got a 4 footer for birdie, and he manages to turn it into a bogey. So and that's going to be happening left, right, and center over here. So one of the guys who we put up, who I really like, again, we spoke about it off air. I was definitely split between Rahm and Spieth this week. And basically it came down to the fact that we bet Jordan Spieth at 20 to 1 last week, and he's priced up at 16 to 1 this week or shorter in a much stronger field. So I can't really do that. And then when I'm looking at Jon Rahm, it's going to be a tough golf course. It's a long par 70. There's going to be, you may get a low score here and there, but it's not going to be a low scoring event. Jon Rahm's already won the Memorial in 2020 at -9, the BMW in 2020 at -4. He won the US Open last year at 2021 at -6. So Rahm knows how to get around these courses where level par is a good number. And he was 8 to 1 when he won the US Open last year. We've got him at 11 to 1 here. We'll see what he can do, but I think hopefully he can be thereabouts. Exact same run up that he had when he won the US Open. The US Open a couple of weeks beforehand, he was leading Memorial by 6 when he had to withdraw for COVID. I won the Mexican Open over here a couple of weeks ago. So everything looks sort of prime for Jon Rahm. Hideki was the next guy. Obviously had some injuries lately, but he got his first major there at the US Masters a year ago, and third last week. he never wins when he's coming off of a break. He always needs a warm up, and I just think Hideki can make a real sustained challenge. Shane Lowry, this year tournament, whenever you see the tough tournament, the tough courses, it's always recent form. How are the guys playing? Like I said before, you're not going to find your game on a hard golf course. So obviously Shane, third at the Masters, third at the Heritage, could have won Honda before that. He's having a great season. He's fantastic with his short game around the greens. So again, if the wind picks up like it's saying that it will do, he's definitely going to be okay with that. Shane Lowry was about 35, 40 to 1. Finally, we're on Jason Kokrak. We'll have him top 10 as well. But 14th, 35th, and 17th, his last 3 starts. He won the Houston Open at -10. He's won a couple of times now in the last couple of years. So you know what? This is the next sort of ideal step for him to go to after a couple of PGA Tour wins. Can play well in these tournaments where it's like higher scoring. So Jason Kokrak as well around the 100 to 1 mark we're on. So it's the 4 guys there: Rahm, Hideki, Lowry, and Jason Kokrak this week.
Yeah, a couple things, and you made some great points about, with the wind being a factor and obviously the warm temperatures, and back to speed for a second. I mean, he doesn't 3-jack 11 or makes that birdie at 17. He's likely in a playoff and has a great chance to win, but really missed his opportunity on Sunday at the AT&T. But also, before I throw up the worksheet, and I got some questions on that from scratchcaddy.com, you mentioned Tiger, and I think Tiger is a fascinating case study in, this is not Tiger of 15, 20 years ago. We know that. But played great the first 2 days of the Masters, way better than I thought he would, coming off the surgery and all the issues walking. This is a much easier course to walk than it is at Augusta. But for me, and this is where I wanted to get your thoughts on this, and, it's always exciting when Tiger's in a tournament. He definitely, I know he's anywhere between 60 to 65 to 1 right now. I don't think there's really a chance he's going to win this. But to me, if he makes the cut, he's going to be in the top 20, or he's going to miss the cut. I don't think there's much, he's not going to pull a Xander Schauffele from last week, make the cut on the number, and then go, 10 under, what was it, 10 under on the final round and get into the top 5. To me, I know that this is a very tough course, and Tiger has won there before, but it's still only his second event in almost 2 years. He's coming off a major, injury. Do you think that there's value in taking Tiger to be in the top 20? Because obviously you're not going to take him to win. I know you mentioned the Caesars bet for 20 grand. I mean, people are always going to bet Tiger, even though there's not, in my opinion, any value there. Do you think that it's worth taking a flyer on a top 20? Because like I said, if he makes the cut, he probably will be in the top 20, but I think there's a real chance he might miss the cut.
Yeah, no, I mean, to be honest with you, if somebody was to give me some money and say you got to put it on Tiger Woods for anything, to be honest with you, I'd put him on it to win. Like you said, it's only his second time back, his second tournament back. I mean, I was watching the Masters last year before his round 4, and the guy could hardly walk on the practice range. He was getting tired. Obviously it's a tough walk anyway around the Masters, but you're going to have some hot days here as well. You never had that really in Augusta. So my view on it would be, I think if anything, he's going to go backwards if he makes the cut. Just because of the fatigue, because like I said, okay, you can be in the gym, you can be working out, you can be trying to be doing endurance training, whatever you want, but it's not the same. You can't replicate it, and it's all of the, as well, keeping the control of the emotions. All the people are going to be watching Tiger. Everybody's going to want a piece of him. And it's an emotional drain, isn't it? And again, he hasn't really done it before. Well, he did it in the Masters, but then he did it all the time before, but he hasn't done it for a long time. Is he going to be used to it? Is the parts of, the great thing with Tiger when he was in his palm was his mental toughness. Nothing was distracting him. Nothing was going to get in his way. Is that still there when he's in contention? That's what you got to kind of look at. So, to me, if I was going to bet him, you might as well bet him to win, because I think he could definitely sort of go backwards come Friday and from Saturday, Sunday. Especially, hey, listen, if he's in a position there, he's 30th in the third round, for example. You get some bad weather coming in on Sunday. He can't really challenge. He knows he can't challenge. What's he going to be thinking? I mean, there's no disgrace in him coming 50th. I mean, 50th or 20th doesn't really make any difference to him. He's so molded into winning everything that he's ever done that nothing else really matters, does it?
No, and that's why, you look at, is there value on taking a top 20, top 10, even though obviously he's only going out there to win. I mean, that's why he mentioned this, even as he comes back here, he's only going to play a few tournaments, not a few, but I'm saying he's only going to play, pick his spots like he's been doing for the last several years anyway. But by the way, if you're wondering, top 10 for Tiger around plus 550, top 20 plus 240, that's kind of the decision I'm making, because I had thought originally I was going to fade Tiger Woods. And I think there's a good chance he does miss the cut. Well, I don't want to say good chance, but, it's a coin flip. But if he makes the cut and he's around for the weekend, I don't think he's going to fade as much as he did like he did at Augusta, because this is an easier course to walk.
Yeah.
Once again, like you said, second tournament back, and he's only played a couple tournaments in about 2 years.
And also as well, I mean, look at, Augusta favors experience so much.
Of course.
And he doesn't have that here.
It's been 15 years since he won that.
He's got the exact same experience as everybody else. So yeah, I mean, I wouldn't be jumping in on anything with him, to be honest with you.
Let's throw up your worksheet, by the way, from scratchcaddy.com. And once again, we talk about this every week. We talked about it last week before a major, recent form, and all the different things you put in there. And I can't stress enough how much of an incredible job you do putting these sheets together for the people at scratchcaddy.com, and what helps you formulate your picks, because this is work that would take other people hours, and you do it for the people that are involved with this. And this is why you've had such success in picking outrights and top fives and top tens. And I wanted to mention this, Jamie, and I know you know this because you're a genius, but I want to give you some praise. So of the last 22 golfers you've selected, I believe that's over 5 tournaments, only one guy has missed the cut. Several have finished in the top 5, top 10. Spieth probably should have won last week. And that just shows to the work that you do, for the people at scratchcaddy.com and what you've been doing for years. And it's a tried and true system, and it works. And I'm always just in awe of it. And I wanted to get your feelings and just kind of formulations on how you tackled this week with the recent form. And I know you brought some numbers up earlier on guys like Kokrak from the Houston Open, etc. Southern Hills obviously not used a ton. And you mentioned the last time Tiger Woods won there 15 years ago in 2007. So there's not a ton of history, but there's been events there before. And what was the way you tackled it this week?
So, yes, I mean, obviously, you've got a long par 70 that's set up for the USPGA, right? So, it's not going to be a minus 20 or whatever.
And by the way, just 1 par 5 and 2 par 3s on each 9.
Correct. Yes. So, and I think both the par 5s are long. They're probably going to be, 3 sticks to get into there. So, it's going to be set up that it's not going to be easy. To me, the big thing with this is, how do guys play these courses where it's not a birdie fest? How are they under pressure? How can they, avoid the doubles? Because the bogeys are always going to be there. They're always going to get them. So it's the guys who can handle the pressure and work out, how can I get the ball into the hole? That's what's the most important thing to me as well. Recent form and how are they on these tough courses? If you actually switch to the second worksheet there, Dan, there's a second worksheet there that's got every winner since 2016 with their recent form coming into when they won. And you'll see there, I think there's only 4 or 5 out of the 30 golfers that had any kind of miscut the 3 weeks leading up to winning. So it just shows you how important it is to be coming into these events in good form. So that was the main thing, good form, and how can you handle a high-scoring event? It's probably going to be high single figures. If it gets into the double digits, it's not going to be too much over 10. So those are the guys who I wanted. So recent form and handling the tough conditions. And like I said, I mean, you look at Jon Rahm there; he's lit up in green. He had the recent win there in Mexico, Jon Rahm, and he's got the 3 wins on those courses at in single figures. So Rahm to me looks as though he's as good a bet as any. But yeah, like you said, it does take a while. The main thing is that I can pull up any numbers that I want to pull up. The question is pulling up the right things. There's no point pulling up numbers if they're going to have no direct correlation into telling us who's going to play well here. I always try and do everything with how I think the course is going to go and how the event is going to go, and so as he can try and whittle down the field to a manageable amount. I mean, I got down to about.
Yep, and that's just the amazing job with the worksheet and how you just put everything together. It really is an incredible system you have, and it's really, I got to tell you, helped give a ton of winners for people from ScratchCaddy.com. We've talked about it on the show. We've given out all the plays every week if you watch this show. So hopefully you're enjoying that. And last week's Spieth almost got it done, but this week, 4 guys for Jamie. He likes Kokrak, Hideki Matsuyama, John Rahm, and Shane Lowry. We'll get back with Jamie in just a little bit. Let's bring in the world's champion. It's the champ. And you finally wore an appropriate hat today. What's the hat today?
Arcadia.
Arcadia Bluffs, the great course in Michigan.
I'm talking about golf. I watched a little video coverage of Dustin Johnson's wedding.
Yeah, because you like Paulina Gretzky.
Yeah, I'd like to steal her puck.
Let me ask you a question. I'm gonna set the over/under on 23 years. When's the last time you played golf?
Miniature golf when I was a young.
No, I love miniature golf, but that's not what I'm talking about.
I never played golf.
Never in your entire life?
No, never.
Not even for like a junket or like to try to impress a girl or to get a handshake business deal? Nothing?
Nothing. I've never played golf. A lot of miniature golf.
That is disgustingly awful, but I still love you. All right, Sealy, are you about now? Listen, I know you haven't played golf, but you like betting on golf and you like all the wins we've had with our man JB. Are you going to be tuned in to along with your obviously handicapping of the baseball for the next several days? Are you going to be watching some PGA Championship?
Let me think about that. No.
Not at all? You're not going to throw it on for a minute?
No.
Sometimes I love you. Other times you really want to make it through.
I mean, if I'm over amped and I'm really tired, I want to go to sleep, I'll put a hole on.
You put a hole on? Just one hole?
Put a hole on. I'll be sleeping, before they even finish the hole.
All right. Well, Seal, as you've mentioned, we talked about it last week, and as the weather gets warmer, Sealy gets warmer. And not that you weren't, picking a bunch of winners earlier in the year, but, there's been some wacky baseball, very low-scoring games. Weather's been a factor, a lot of postponements that you had picks on that ended up getting canceled. But let's talk about an interesting strategy. And that's what we like to do on this show is obviously, as we've always said, we'd love for you to sign up for sportshandicapper.com, scratchcaddy.com, Squatch picks, handicapper 91. That'd be great, because we're winning and it's happened for years. But it's not like we need you to do that. We're doing this because we want people to learn, and maybe that will wet their whistle and say, you know what, maybe I need to understand that Seal's the kind of guy that can win stuff for me. But there's so many different things that you've done over the years that have led to you having an advantage, having an edge, and being successful. And I wanted, now that we have baseball as a primary sport, obviously the NBA playoffs are going on, NHL Stanley Cup playoffs, but for much of the rest of the summer, spring and summer until the fall when football is back, we're going to have baseball. So I want to talk about different angles. And obviously it did turn out the way it should have last night with a stupid late run by the Orioles.
Told you Chapman stinks.
Yeah, Chapman. Seals play yesterday. We'll get into the crux of it in a second here. Yanks minus 1.5. They score a fifth run in the eighth. It gets to the ninth. Chapman gets the first 2 batters out easy. 2 outs, nobody on. Of course, what do you think happens? They allow 1 run, win it by 1.
Single. And the last single, Gallo should court in left field. He just let it drop right in front of him.
Yeah, what was that all about? But listen, I know we didn't win that play, but I think obviously that was the right kind of a play. It was, instead of the Yanks minus 300, it's minus 1.5, minus 120, minus 130, whatever it ended up being when you took the game. But explain to the people out there why, and you don't do this a ton, but why there is value occasionally in taking a run line, either plus the 1.5 maybe with a big underdog, or minus 1.5 with a big favorite.
It depends what the line is. If you think the game's going to close 250, 260, you can lay minus 1.5, minus a quarter, which I did in the morning. There's value. It's all about the numbers. If the game closes 220 and you're laying 1.5 minus a quarter, it's not a good bet. It all depends what the number is.
Right, but I think that it's important that you explain to people this strategy, because you're right, it's all about the number. But you don't want to lay. Let's say that you feel really good about the Yankees, and why are we having random people again entering the screen during a show? What did he grab there? A burger?
I had a sign on the front of my lawn, and somebody nubbed the things down where you can stick it into the ground. They actually filed off the things.
Well, you know what? That was as rude as Dylan Livers and Onions mini seal coming in the middle of the show. But back to the point. You're not going to lay. I mean, you'll bet pretty big, Seal. So the people that are watching the show, a lot of them are not going to bet the kind of money that you'll bet on a specific game. And obviously, baseball, you don't want to go crazy because it's a 162 game season. It's not like an NFL game or a college football game or even an NBA playoff game. But when you look at the Yanks yesterday minus 280 or 300. There's no value in laying 300. Yeah, the Yankees have a good chance of winning, but there's no value in laying the 300, right? So that's why you look at laying a run and a half, or maybe like the Tigers the other day. I actually took them just a fun flyer. The Tigers were for a second the hottest team in baseball until they just got rocked by the Rays for 2 games in a row. But if you remember, they were playing Kershaw, Bresky, the youngster. They were getting plus 280 or plus 300. I took just a flyer on the Tigers money line, and they ended up winning. But if you took the Tigers plus a run and a half, there is Sportsedge check. I'll allow her to enter the show whenever she wants. She's the only one. All right. But Seal, you take the Tigers plus a run and a half, you still might get plus 130, plus 140. That's where there's value there. You don't want to lay 250, 280 on a baseball game, even with a good pitching matchup. Because, yes, let's say you lay $3,000 to win $1,000. That's a nice win, but you're laying $3,000 on a baseball game. So that's why the value is looking at some run lines at times.
Oh, absolutely. I agree. It's all about the number.
All about the number. All right, well, let's take a look at the card today. I know you're very excited. I know you have one selection. Let everyone know what we're thinking about on the card today and kind of what the process has been getting into that.
I bet the Angels minus 51 this morning. So
yep, and of course, look where the Angels are at now. This is what we said on the show over and over again. The Angels are anywhere between 170 and 190 when you look at what they are on the money line. And whatever you bet, I mean, yes, there's times where the line doesn't go your way. But 80+% of the time, it sure seems like whenever you make a selection, whether it's in the NBA during the regular season or baseball, the line goes your way. And the Angels 189, 190 at DraftKings, 186 at FanDuel. You got it at $151. So what did I know it's Ohtani pitching tonight, pitching and batting, and the Rangers are not a very good team. What went into you looking at this kind of a game where when you're laying 150, it's a lot different than laying even where the line's at now, but laying a 250 or a 300. So there's value there in a game like this, I believe.
Yeah, I don't like the Texas pitcher. His numbers are good. I don't really like him that much. The Angels will crush him, I think. And Texas beat up on Ohtani this year, but it was very random stuff, soft hit balls, and he was a little wild. They kind of treated him rudely last time he was in Texas. What happened today?
All right, I like that. Anything else you were looking at? I know that's the only official selection. Anything else you were looking at that maybe you were tempted to maybe throw a play on? And as we've said before, this is another very important point that we make on the show. There are days where you're not going to bet anything, and you don't just bet to bet. And I know there was a couple days last week. I know you had no selections, and then the next day you had 4 and you went 4-0. So it's not about just throwing money out there to throw money out there for money's sake. You got to make sure you're putting money in the right places. Was there anything you were looking at today? Maybe you just decided at the last minute you weren't going to bang it?
I was looking at Houston, but I am not going to pull the trigger. I slightly into Houston. I don't like Pivetta. I know his last 2 starts were good, but he's not throwing the ball nearly as well as he was last year.
What about the adage where, because Houston scored 13 runs last night. And by the way, you had the over in the Houston-Boston game that went over on a 2-run homer late in the game for the Red Sox. And that was always fun. I think it was Bogarts that did it. But so when you look at a team scoring 13 runs on the road the next day, I know baseball is, every day is a new day. But is there something looking into that where if you kind of blow your wad in one game, you're on the road against a team in Boston that's not playing great baseball, but they're still a good team and they're playing at home at Fenway. and that kind of gives you a little trepidation, or is it all about the matchups?
Slight trepidation, but in a daily sport, my thing is whatever happened yesterday is yesterday. I don't really new day, new pitchers, move on to the next. If these teams complain about a bad loss or they got real happy over a big win, they play 162 games. They'd be on the couch. You know what I mean, with a therapist. It's an everyday sport. They play.
Yeah, you got to just forget about what happened yesterday. But I think there is something, like I mentioned, that's why I brought it up, because when you have a team that's scoring a certain amount of runs, the next day a lot of times they don't score any, or they score one or two.
They can get shut out today. Doubt it.
Right. You see it happen all the time. All right, anything else you're looking at as we get closer to the weekend? And what's the cheesesteak count we were going to have for the rest of the week?
I already had one today, and I am stuffed.
Where was it from?
Steve's Princess Steaks.
Ooh, was it hot when you got it?
Oh yeah, ate it like.
All right, let's bring back in the Jamesters. All right, I know you guys both sent me amazing birthday gifts. I can't wait to get them tomorrow. Before we get out of here, let's get some parting shots here. Jamie, we'll start with you. And once again, really excited about the PGA Championship. Check out scratchcaddy.com. As we mentioned, Jamie, on Shane Lowry, John Rahm, Jason Kokrak, Hideki Matsuyama. What are your parting shots for this fine day?
So obviously we've got the golf coming up the weekend. It's the I think this Sunday is the last day of the Premier League as well, right? I believe. So we'll see Manchester City or Liverpool. It all hands in. It's all in Aston Villa's hands. If Villa can beat Man City, then Liverpool will be champions. And of course, Steven Gerrard, the Villa manager, was the ex-Liverpool player.
Yep.
So he definitely.
Will you be wearing your Aston Villa scarf? Will you be wearing it all day?
I get my girlfriend to dress up as an Aston Villa player.
All right,
that's
role
what
play action.
We'll be doing.
Love it. Seal, what do you got?
No gift for you this year for your birthday. Inflation.
You said you were going to get me like a soda or something.
No, I said I might get you some tap water, a cup of tap water, but I can't.
All right, so you're going to get me like a 1 penny gift. I appreciate it.
I mean, inflation, buddy.
For me, though, I just want to say to both of you, to our man Starsky, to Sideburns, to all our great folks here at the Sportsedge, and just all you out there that watch, and all you out there that are part of our lives. I'm very grateful to know all of you. My birthday means a lot to me because, if people don't know my story, I've told it on this show before, but, I am 11 years sober. I could be dead. And I got people like Jamie and Seal that are here and everyone else, Starsky and Sideburns, that have always been supportive. So to be able to do this show, to be able to know you guys and try to get people some cash out there and winning strategies means a lot to me. And you two mean the world to me as well. So thanks to you both as well.
Cheers, Danny. Appreciate you what you do, buddy. All the best. Enjoy your day tomorrow.
Thank you.
Back at you. And by the way, it's a good thing we're in this business because if you think about it, the only thing that hasn't gotten hit for inflation is gambling. That's
right. I mean, the lines go up and down, but you're not going to win less money. If you take a team minus 110, you're laying whatever you're laying to win 110.
You're betting a basketball game, stole $55 to 50, 5,500 to 5,000. Then he goes,
Jamie,
you know what? Inflation, we're going to add a penny one.
Gambling is inflation proof. And actually, it's a good way to battle inflation as well. All right. Thanks so much to you two. Great jobs. Good luck with the picks, Jamie. And Seal for Jamie, for Seal, for Starsky, for Sideburns. I'm Dan Leach, the Squatch. Thanks so much for watching. We'll see you next time on the Sportsedge, powered by SportsHandicapper.com. Until then, keep reaching for the stars. Believe in the dream. Squatch out.